He thought you were trolling him, I think.
I started streaming.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm not trolling anybody. If you heard Diana said he thought I was trolling, I'm not trolling anybody.
My brother.
I'm not trolling Diana's brother. On show now we gotta. Hello world, my name is Chris Pirillo and I'm streaming. Can I?
Oh yeah.
Okay, thank you. And this is another live edition of the LockerGnome Daily Report, or TLDR for short. Your daily dose of geek news, product news, and answers that you can use. Like, Chris, are you really going to talk about the news today? The answer to that question is no. It is the 4th of July, and it's also Friday, which means it's an AMA, so you have a chance to ask me anything. Now, if you are a patron of mine, thank you very much. 931. We are now 59 away from announcing the sex that I had. No, well, okay, come on. Diana's pregnant. I mean, it wasn't immaculate, I can tell you that much right now.
It just got awkward.
It really did get awkward. So let me thank the 931 people who appreciate my sense of humor, really, quite honestly. They are very, very crucial and essential to being able to drive forward with doing these things. It's why I'm very happy to spend this time with you. I kind of joked in the vlog today, I'm like, well, everyone else is celebrating independence and, you know, here I am strapped. Maybe I shouldn't include that. That kind of sounds rude. Because I really enjoy spending my time with you, even on holidays, even though I know people may not be tuning in live. They may be watching after the fact. Either way, 931 people today, 59 away from announcing the sex of baby Pirillo and the name. Because I think it's official, hon. Now, I haven't gone through and registered anything and everything yet. We got to keep it on the down low, and the patrons, if they get in on this. Well, do you think I'm going to hit 1,000 by my birthday here in a few weeks?
I think so. They have 3 weeks.
You have 3 weeks to make my 41st birthday wish happen. That's the only thing I want. I want to hit 1,000 true patrons. Now, I should note here that I haven't gone through the list to clean up and eliminate patrons who have kind of fallen off this tier, but that will be happening at some point this weekend. Yes, I will continue to work. So, for those of you wondering, Chris, why aren't you being more patriotic right now? Why aren't you celebrating, you know, with something beyond this streamer thing on your head that you got and wore for Memorial Day? Well, there you go. There's an animated GIF of the flag. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of grain. Jose, can you see by the dawn's... Okay.
That was pretty.
I thought it was pretty too, but people may not have tuned in for that.
Oh, no.
They tuned in to have me answer questions, so I'm happy to do that. So for everybody who is tuned in live, feel free to ask questions of me, and I'd be happy to address them. So for those of you wondering, and you may or may not, which audiobook we're choosing to listen to today, it's America! Yeah, it's America! But, you know, the book, the audiobook on audible.com. You can get one free audiobook download by heading over there and going to audible.com/LockerGnome specifically. This is the one that The Daily Show did, America. I thought it was appropriate, right? So, you know, we're, instead of just, you know, making snack foods and health foods, we're celebrating that way by listening about America. Listening about America? It's one way of celebrating today. So, were you going to show people here?
Oh, yeah.
This is a geek view for you. So, Diana's brother Hector is... No, stop. I can't play it back. I'm not licensed to replay Audible stuff. Diana's brother Hector is not... Okay, I screwed it up.
Oh, no.
So he is selling on eBay a couple of collectible Star Trek figures, and I bid on them, and so I don't know if I'm going to get in a bidding war with everybody, but there you go. There's a couple of the Star Trek figures, Spock and Kirk, right there. I'll have to put the link for everybody in the video description, but if you wanted to get a hold of them at a pretty good rate, this would be the time. So you can get into it. If you ever wanted to get into a bidding war with me, that is the way. The first question. What's the sense, asks Gary, in having all these great computers when our broadband sucks here in the U.S.? Boy, that sounds just America. What a great question to ask today. So the questions that I'll be addressing first before I get to the general community questions come in from the $5 tier patrons. That's the tier I think it's a good one. We're going to be adding more value to that tier on up. So, you know, broadband is getting better, and I think it's really going to accelerate when wireless technology is more readily accessible. And I don't just mean, wireless as we consider it now with Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or anything like that. But just imagine, and we even referenced this, the outer net the other day, the satellites beaming down internet access everywhere. I think it's just going to be a matter of like 10 years before we are no longer strapped to hardwired connections to our house or our homes or wherever we are. We're just going to, be anywhere, open our phone, our tablet, our computer, whatever, our smart device, and you're just online, magically. Gigabit speeds, like everywhere, wireless. Wireless gigabit speeds are coming down the pike, destroying any, the last mile, really, is being a stopping block for any kind of issues when it comes to broadband. So, here in our house, we use Comcast/Xfinity, and I'm very happy and very grateful that I have the ability to connect to the internet at 110 down, 10 up. That's what allows me really to live stream a lot. By the way, if you guys are still getting audio audio issues, let me know, because I wanted to make sure that I've got everything set up right, and I was trying to mitigate that problem the other day. So, Cassie Lowe looks like she's going to get into a bidding war with me, potentially.
Oh, she is?
Look at Diana's Twitter feed. She tweeted it out, and I retweeted it last night, the eBay link. So I think, we have computers, but I wouldn't say that we're limited by the internet, really, as much as we are, I think, limited by our imagination, what we can do with it. I was doing things on the internet back when I had to pay, what was it, $30, No, I think it was $50 a month for 30 hours worth of dial-up access, just to have that. So, I count my blessings. I'm very, very grateful. It's a business expense for me, having this internet connection. And, it's really freedom to me. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but as, the internet becomes more and more as it proliferates, and I think the future is wireless, as it continues to proliferate our lifestyles, it'll catch up. But I think it's going to happen in the area of wireless connectivity. Although, if you ask me, I prefer wired connectivity. I'm wired. This is the computer I'm using to live stream right now is wired directly into my internet connection, which is coming in through the modem in the awesome room downstairs. Carson Clark asked, what do you do when you're feeling overwhelmed, and how do you manage stress? Carson, this is a great question. I am overwhelmed a lot. And, I do my best to... sometimes I write things down, I set things aside if it's stressing me out, or I kind of move the ball forward slowly, bit by bit. I try not to push myself too hard, knowing what needs to be done. I try to find formulas. Really, honestly, to me, that makes it easier. So if I can bring order to chaos, I feel good. And it happens throughout my entire life. Like, Diana will notice that sometimes I'll pace, or I'll start putting things away. I'll just start cleaning, right? Just obsessively cleaning. Now, that's not OCD. I'm just saying this is how I deal with the chaos in my life. I just feel like things are chaotic. I need to put order to them. So it's one of the reasons why, as I, introduce new things or try new things, I try to find a formula for everything. I try. And then even with that formula, just kind of, I can play around the formula. It allows me to live in chaos. So when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I tend to dig in deeper when, in fact, I should actually probably do more to step away. I'm constantly reevaluating where I'm stressing out, what I could be doing better, how to optimize my time, how to optimize these processes that weigh me down. And, I don't always have the answer to those questions. And sometimes it takes time to, come up with a good way for me to deal with a certain situation. But in being overwhelmed, it's usually when I've taken on too much, and not just bitten off more than I can chew, taken on too much and not knowing how everything was going to be handled. This is why I tend not to jump into things without having a better understanding of, is this going to work? What are the benefits? What are the shortcomings? Is this something that is going to cause me to work more, or work in a different way? And so when I'm feeling overwhelmed, I start eliminating things. And that usually begins with eliminating chaos. For me, that's how I deal with it. I eliminate chaos, or I do my best to do that. That's everyone's going to deal with stresses or being overwhelmed in a different way. But it's just that's I think that's what I do, whether I mean to or not. And I think that speaks to the heart of it. Whether I mean to or not. That's how I deal with it. Adam Wallace, good question. Do you think there will ever be a successor to Apple? Yes, is the answer. I don't know if Apple would necessarily be around forever. And inevitably they will, have a successor. There will be a successor. Right now, they've got a unique proposition in the marketplace. They really don't have competition in every sense of the word. Bits and pieces where they compete with other entities. But really, Apple as a company is unparalleled today. But that doesn't mean it can't change. In fact, and I'll be talking about this a little more on Monday, Apple's had to change because of their traditional model or business model of generating revenue through media sales, like with music, right? People used to buy music a la carte. Not anymore. They're buying into music subscription services. So in many ways, Apple was leapfrog. Part of Apple was leapfrog. Can they make a comeback with that? I don't know. I don't know what Apple's response is going to be. Now, I think the next big thing that could disrupt Apple would be a Netflix-like model, with a lot more licensing of movies and production companies and brands on board. I think Apple has the best chance today, if they got their eye on the ball. Apple's next big media move is specifically to make a better Netflix with licensing from all these big companies, because I think the same thing's going to happen with movies and television as what's happened with music. I really do. I think, if Apple doesn't do it, someone else will. Potentially Google, potentially Amazon, although Amazon kind of trails behind them in that sense. Apple's kind of that junction point for a lot of people's media, including Disney. You can buy through Disney more seamlessly with Apple. Imagine, instead of having to buy into this service, and not get all the movies that you want, you're just able to go through one vendor, pay a monthly fee, and you're good to go. And that's what happened pretty much with Spotify. And it rules the roost with music. That's my question, is which companies are going to chip away at Apple's position in the marketplace? And it would really have to be a company like Apple. Not exactly like Apple, but disruptive in the ways that Apple was disruptive. But yes, I do believe that Apple, there will be a successor to Apple, absolutely. And you also have to understand, and this is what is kind of, I don't take the same approach, but sometimes bigger isn't always better. Sometimes a bigger number in terms of market share doesn't equate to a bigger number in terms of profitability. And so you can't just look at a company and say, well, there are fewer of their products out in the marketplace, therefore they're unsuccessful. Each company is determined, its success is determined by different factors. So for there to be a successor to Apple, they would have to compete exactly how Apple competes in the marketplace. And I see bits and pieces of that happening from other companies, but nothing outright from any of Apple's competitors across any of its verticals that it is attempting to not just dominate, but address. George Barrett asks, out of all the shows you've been able to launch since starting your Patreon campaign, which has been your favorite? Well, George, we've really only started 2 at this stage. I'm limited by how I am able to find talented people who can execute, who have the time, who I'm able to afford. And John Prosser is pretty much the person that we've got right now. If I could identify someone who could help me with the gadget things, like the more hands-on gadgety things, it would probably have to be local. I'd have to find out who they are, likely Seattle or Seattle area, how much they would want to be able to produce videos with us, and then I'd bake that into the Patreon campaign. So I really want to do more gadgety things, but I got to find the right people. They may be doing things on their own, or maybe they're not big enough to, either they haven't grown big enough. So there are a lot of factors. I don't want to get into the point into the position where I'm doing more, because that will be overwhelming to me. I want to use my time wisely. And so in collaborating with John, I'm thrilled with how OMG is coming together. It's different, it's fun, it speaks to the culture of geekery or these technology names and brands we hear about in the news every day, Instagram and Facebook and video editing, and think terms and brands that mean something to the people who are using them. And so I really like how OMG is shaping up. TGIF is going well enough. Although, here's the thing. I thought you guys may have wanted more tips, but, I did the how to cosplay today. I did how to crowdfund. I don't know what people want me to explain to them. So I almost need feedback from you on what you want. That's the problem sometimes, is that what you want from me, I'm not able to give. So that I don't want to... I've got to match your expectations, but be able to address them. So I would say I'm happier with what John's doing with OMG than what I'm doing with TGIF. I know it sounds a little odd, but I'm proud of John. I cannot wait to co-launch a Patreon campaign with him for Front Page Tech and what he wants to do. But like I said, Diana's my canary in the coal mine. If she's not laughing, there's a problem.
Yeah.
Diana laughs at OMG. This Facebook one that he just did this week, I mean, I'm just like, man. If I was watching this stuff on the internet, I'm like, this guy's gonna be big. This guy's gonna be big, and so I'm very grateful that we've given birth to that, and thanks to the patrons. And so I'm happy about that. I'm happy enough with TGIF. I think there's a value in teaching people or giving people tips, guidance, information, and facts. I've yet to really nail down a formula to know what I can offer from my own perspective that people might want from me. That I think is also going to stand the test of time. So it's a fine balance in creating new content. The next series that I would like to start up, although it's going to be partially backed by the patrons, so they'll get a bonus, but I want to do a separate Patreon campaign, potentially with another person, about Star Wars stuff. It'll have to be a separate campaign though, because I want to involve other people directly, not necessarily be in this arena of what we're doing today. Because that's the issue, is like people want to do things, but you got to pay the bills, and I got to make sure that people can pay the bills, and that it's important to me. So I'm very much looking forward to spinning that off to see how receptive the Star Wars community might be, and it seems like they're interested in all sorts of Star Wars stuff. And I don't know. I'm like I said, because I want to put up what I want to do with that. Sorry, as I play through the list of patrons here for TLDR. The reason why I'm thinking, and thank you, by the way, VeriCoin.info. I don't know how your VeriCoins are doing, but Akafu, he's doing great captions. I'm really appreciative that he's been putting those out there. Although he did this little mock-up for what I could do on chris.pirillo.com, but I don't know if it ever got completely fleshed out. It'd be kind of neat. Chris.pirillo.com was kind of updated yesterday. I don't know. I tweeted it out a few times, and John and I are kind of working on some of the finer points of design and some other niggling issues. But either way, we were able to do that together. So the reason why I'm thinking of a separate Patreon campaign for Star Wars is, number one, potentially involving another partner. Number two, because the tiers are going to be a different value. So what I want to do is, because I want to actually go and get Star Wars stuff. I want to buy Star Wars stuff. And the thing is I'll get some Star Wars stuff, show it off, why I got it, why I think it's cool, why I think it's neat and interesting and everything, and kind of do a pseudo review, like pack it into one weekly video. I want to produce it well enough, and more to the point, I want to take that stuff, give some of it away, donate some of it, and maybe keep some of it. So it's kind of like a fine balance. So that's really a different tier value structure for patrons than the current Patreon system, which is more digital exchanges and some value add of being connected to the community. But this one's really super targeted to Star Wars. This particular Patreon campaign is more general for geek lifestyles, and I want to experiment with a super targeted one. I think it'd be kind of neat. Get some Star Wars stuff every week, show it off, give some of it away to those patrons, and then also donate some locally. Donate some stuff. So everybody kind of, it'll be a win-win-win situation for everybody. But like I said, I think it's better to move that in a different direction than what we're doing here with the Geek Lifestyles campaign. It's kind of, they're complementary. I'll figure out how to make it all work, but trust me, they'll be absolutely complementary to one another. Jeremy Abad asks, if there were an alien invasion today and you're only able to implement a computer virus to take invaders' defenses, the only catch is that it might be a one-way trip to the mothership, would you do it? This is an Independence Day reference. Oh, God. I almost walked out of the theater when I saw Jeff Goldblum upload a virus. His Mac could interface with this alien computer. Back then, you couldn't even get a PC to talk to a Mac. In any way, shape, or form. It was a kludge. So, yeah, I was like, what? No! Oh my God! I'm out. I almost got up and walked out of the theater. So, I think that, if it meant that I'd be saving the world, I think that there would be a benefit to doing it. I think that, really, is, everyone, hang on. It says, everyone look to the top left of the screen behind Chris.
What is it?
I don't know. What is it? What is he pointing out? That guy commenting said, look up behind Chris. What the hell is he talking about? I got to be careful when I read the comments in the live stream because then I kind of get self-conscious. I'd do it if it meant saving the world. I'd do it. Why not? If I was the only one to do it, I'm in. Randy Pinner asks, what are your thoughts about Samsung beating Apple at their own game with their own advertising commercials, or with their new advertising commercials? I remember one time Apple was really taking it to Microsoft with great ads in the past, but now Apple is becoming the joke. Yeah, I guess I really liked the classic Apple commercials. You know, I'm a Mac and I'm a PC. I love those commercials. I really did. They made me laugh. In a day, at the time when they were those commercials were big, I was largely PC, and I still liked them. I'm like, this is pretty. I was like, oh, this is pretty funny. I said, I don't know if it's accurate exactly, but I guess it's the truth from a certain point of view, to quote Obi-Wan Kenobi. I don't know if I'd also say that Apple's becoming the joke, but they're actually in the process of revamping their media campaigns and building their own in-house media team to develop ad campaigns. Apple is telling stories, and I think that's the right approach to it. They're not so much relying on humor anymore. And would I say that the Samsung commercials are better if they're more entertaining? Yeah, I would say that I enjoy being entertained by commercials. I enjoy funnier commercials than I do the drier ones or the story empowering ones. But Apple's taking that approach because they're appealing to a different segment of the marketplace. They're appealing, tugging at people's heartstrings, or getting people to realize that technology can be a part of their lives without slapping them in the face, which is typically what happens with consumer electronics products. They suck. I mean, they're horrible experiences. They're expensive. They're clunky. And Apple's trying to show people hey, there's a better way of doing things. There's a better way to live your life with technology. So it's just a different approach. And I wouldn't say they're becoming the joke. They're approaching the marketplace differently. If you were to ask me which commercials I appreciate, not a day goes by when I'm not quoting that. What is it? What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? Khakis. She sounds hideous. Well, she's a guy, so 2 collars ahead of us, Timmy. I have blah blah insurance, so person come help. 10 collars ahead of us. Is it 10 collars? 10 collars ahead of us, Timmy. Thanks, Mom. You're not helping. State Farm. I mean, really, I'm not going to switch to State Farm anytime soon. I'm happy with my insurance provider, but I just like.
What about the potatoes?
Wait, we are farmers. Bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. Oh, meat and potatoes. Meat and potatoes and great peas. Oh, don't get the kids started. I love those witty commercials. They just stick to me. What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? Khakis? She sounds hideous. And if you have not seen these commercials, so help me God, Google them or Bing them. You gotta do it, man. I just that. Chris, it flashes white, that's all. Is there something flashing white up there? What are you wearing, Jake from State Farm? She sounds hideous. Funny commercials. So, yeah, I'll give it to Samsung on this front. I love funny commercials. I'm assuming. I haven't seen them. I haven't seen the new Samsung commercials, but if they're funny, I like them. Androy Lee asks, when do you think you will be able to do the Mac Pro review, Chris? Can't wait, with a frowny face. Well, I can't wait either. I just don't have one. I can't review when I don't have it. I want it. I want it. I want it. Very much looking forward to a new Mac Pro, but right now it's not in the cards. This one's still kind of clunking along. This one over here. Oh, by the way, your name could be there. Thank you for being a patron. Love you. Love everybody out there, really, even if you're not a patron. So I am looking forward to the Mac Pro review as well. But this computer is not... I'm not quite dead. Shut up. You'll be stone dead in a moment. Bring out your dead. Poof. Bring out your... It's only a model. Shh. Am I the only Monty Python fan? I can't even say it. Let me try it again. Am I the only Monty Python fan in the room? I am. Life is lonely when you're the only nerd in the house. So I'm hoping that you give birth to a nerd, honey. This is all I'm hoping for. Really, just give me a nerd. This is all I've wanted.
I'll try my best.
And a new Mac Pro. Those are the only two things that I've wanted. And a life-size Darth Vader that Sideshow Collectibles is selling. Yeah? Yeah? What are we doing for my birthday, by the way?
We're...
Darth Vader theme party. We've already established that. We, and by we, I mean I. Okay?
And you'll have a cake.
I'll have a cake. Are we celebrating with everybody live? Should we celebrate it? Maybe if I'm not at 1,000 patrons then, hopefully I will be, then I can do a patron drive. Like a live birthday celebration with everybody.
And if we hit 1,000 patrons, we can announce the sex
Well,
of
but
the baby.
the problem is we can't do it until the end of the month. Because some of those patrons may be false.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're not, the pledges didn't go through, so I got to be careful about that. Well, think about it. I'll think about it. I'll do something special for my 31st birthday with everybody. John Whitaker asks, "Hi, Chris. With the knowledge you have now and still wish to learn, what would you like to sit down with face-to-face and ask advice from or work with if you could that's still alive today? And someone who was alive before you were born. Could be anyone, go far back in time as you wish." Like, you mean if I could tap into someone or someone's thinking of their head? Yeah, I don't know. I really don't know. What are you glaring at me for?
What am I thinking?
I don't know. I really don't. Why are you glaring at me? What? Diana's glaring at me.
I'm trying to see if you can see through my head into my mind.
Okay, now it got weird. I don't know. I really don't know. You know, I imagine any of the quote unquote greats. Carl Sagan, a dreamer. You know, someone whose intelligence was locked in time, but also out of time. And you know, that's part of the frustration of the human condition, right? Right now, when we go to kind of dovetail back to the first question Gary asked about broadband. Like, imagine what life would have been like, you know, if you were born 50 years from now. 100 years from now. You know, the people who are smart today are locked into what could happen today based on what everybody is doing or the resources at everybody's disposal. Resources at everybody's disposal, not disposable. And hopefully you guys understood what I mean. So, you know, if you were 500, let's say you lived 500 years ago, but you were smarter than anybody who lived today, you couldn't have done anything to impact the world, and I would say largely in a positive way. So, you know, I think, you know, and I pick out Carl Sagan because, you know, I think he was a man. I mean, there are a lot of men and women who came well ahead of their time, and you know, he would just be one name out of, I'm sure, thousands if I had a chance to really think about it. But I would want to have discussions with people who understood things that I did not. I don't want to talk to someone who knows exactly what I know. I don't want to talk to someone who can tell me everything that I've already figured out for myself. I want to talk to people and I want to connect with people who know things that I don't know. That's an extreme value for me. So yeah, I would find those types of rules. I would probably not talk to too many people who would have been into computers or technology or Star Wars necessarily. So well, because Carl Sagan's into, obviously, technology for telescopes and science and stuff. You know, scientists are fascinating to me. Because I something I was never able to really grasp. Love it, appreciate it, but I never was able to, my mental this is as good as Chris Pirillo gets. No, I'll get better, maybe, over time. Can't promise anything. I can just promise what I am today. Android Lee says, "Nice singing, Chris." Oh, thank you. Was that the "We Are Farmers"? Bump, 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 bump. No, it was the beginning of the broadcast when I was being all patriotic. Liz, a Canadian, because it's just a normal Friday for her. She says, "You look like Red from Fraggle Rock." Because she had the
yeah,
Red from Fraggle Rock. It's fun and functional. I'll do this.
Yeah.
Or these like my nipple tassels here. That's what you were thinking, wasn't it?
No.
Oh.
But
Well, I missed that one then. I thought that's exactly what you were thinking.
now I am.
I thought it was valuable. Oh, I guess we've reached the end of our 30 minutes together. Sorry if it wasn't as jam-packed with knowledge and information that everybody was seeking from me. But let me go ahead and wish everybody a happy 4th of July. This is going to be my...
I want to know what they're doing for the 4th of July.
Oh, Diana wants to know what you're doing.
Yeah.
That's going to be my thumbnail for this video.
I like it.
Celebrates Independence Day by strapping himself to a chair and streaming online.
Flip over your headband.
Now I'm a bull.
I think that's better.
Oh, this is better? This is how I should have done it the whole time?
Now I tell you.
Get married, they said. It'll be fun, they said. I don't know who this they are, but this they and I are going to have a talk. So today, normally I do a Q&A with you and me, but today I'm actually kind of doing a bonus collab, so I'm not going to do a separate live stream today. Hey, it's 4th of July, come on, it's gotta have a little vacation. But I'm going to be recording a collab video with Alon Dan, who does animations on YouTube, crazy cartoons, hilarious. He does the Bacon song, which I also sing sometimes in my head. I'm bacon, all the way, just bacon. You gotta watch the Bacon song. I'm bacon, all the way. He's crazy. We actually did a collab video a couple of years ago on April Fool's Day where the animated guy was running all over me and I was freaking out, and he animated him all over the place. So this time what we're going to do is we're going to do a collab, and I'm going to pick out a gadget. I'm probably going to say the iPad mini. I'm going to talk about we're getting in a cartoons perspective on the iPad mini. And then I'm going to turn to the guy. I'm like, what do you think? Do you like the camera? And I'm going to react because I have no idea what he's going to do is in the animation. So we're going to see how it turns out. We don't know how that's going to go yet. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. That video will be published, I don't know in which channel, potentially this one. But I'll be sure that my patrons get a sneak preview of that when it's before it's ready to go. Should be fun. It'll be different. We'll see how it goes. I'm into experimenting, with video content. It's fun to do. Life's too short to take yourself too seriously. So thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Thanks for liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing, being a patron if you are, and of course just being yourself. And I hope you're happy, whether you are an American, you're celebrating the 4th of July, or you are, someone who lives in Canada or elsewhere in the world and are celebrating with me. At this point, I'm going to leave you to your own devices. We'll see you later. Ow.